Welcome guys to the Dynamic Podcast with Brendan and Rhiannon.
On this podcast, we're here to talk about self-development, health and fitness, business, and our journey as brand new business owners.
Let's go. Make sure you stick around because I'm telling you right now, this is the best podcast you'll ever see.
Enjoy, guys. Ciao.
Grace, for people that don't know who you are, tell us a little bit about how you would introduce yourself.
I don't know. I guess I'm a mum. And this is interesting because this is what we do in life. We label ourselves to give ourselves identity. For you were to ask me what's my identity, I'd say I'm a mum, I'm a teacher, I'm an educator, I'm an advocate, I'm a human, I guess. Anything education, anything teaching people, that's me. And, of course, mum and wife. And I'm a daughter as well, and I'm a sister. All those things make up who I am.
Yep.
Yeah.
Stay human. I really like that shirt.
Yeah. This is
that.
where I run my retreats in Bali, Michael Franti's place. Yeah.
Oh,
It's
wow.
called Soulshine.
How long have you been doing that for?
Yeah, the last 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I've got one next year. So, yeah, it's
like that.
amazing. Yeah, it's a beautiful place.
You've actually run a few retreats, haven't you?
Yeah.
What made you get into those for the first time?
Well, I used to attend many retreats. So as a yoga student, I found my first yoga retreat, I think I had only been doing yoga for like a month, and there was a retreat advertised, and I thought, okay, good way to just get intense, like do an intense couple of days. And after I attended that, I just found it very transformational, I guess, for myself and my practice. Like physically, I thought, oh, wow, I can do more, I can understand more. It's slow, you're away from the day-to-day life. And I can't tell you how many I attended, like many retreats, several a year, internationally and as well in Australia. And then, of course, naturally, when I was teaching, it evolved into offering that for other people. And, of course, I have my personal take on how I do that. But, yeah, so having attended so many and realising the incredible benefits of that physically and spiritually, I adopted my own, put that into my offerings for people in the community.
Awesome.
I like that.
Yeah.
You mentioned yoga student, but you've been doing yoga for 20 years. Tell us about how that started.
I was in Canada at the time. Actually, before that, I was studying at uni here at Sydney Uni, and I did a gym class, and they were offering yoga. And having had done dance for many, many years, I was kind of out of the dance thing and didn't really want to dance anymore, but I wanted to keep moving my body, and I'm not really into competitive sports really, so I was trying to find something, what am I going to enjoy? And I had seen or heard of yoga, but not really knew enough of it, but just thought it was some stretching thing. So I took up a couple of classes at the gym at uni, and it was not very profound or anything like that. It wasn't an incredible experience. It was just a yoga class at the gym.
Yep.
And then I moved on with my life, and then I was in Canada for a year, and I came across big sign that said yoga in the biggest, I don't know how I didn't notice it, but it was winter and freezing, snowing and cold, and I never picked up on it until spring came out, like weather like we are in now, and I looked up and I saw this massive sign. I thought, how did I ever not see that? It was literally down the road from where I was staying. So I thought, I'll give it a try. And I went to my first class, and it was Ashtanga yoga, and Ashtanga yoga is a very strong physical practice. And I remember going to that first class thinking, I'll be okay. It's, I've done dance before. It was the hardest yoga class I could have attended.
Oh, no.
And it really challenged my ego. Like I took the class and thought, God, that was so hard. That's not for me. I'm not going to go back. But then I actually went home and thought, why am I saying that to myself? Why am I not giving up, but why am I assuming that's not for me? And then I started saying to myself, well, these are ordinary people. They're all going and they're all doing it. Why can't I do it? And it's hard now, but something just drew me back. So I thought, okay, I'll go again. And then I attended again and then signed up for the beginner course. And it was all from there that I fell in love with Ashtanga yoga particularly.
Yep.
And that's when the love affair began. Yeah.
Wow. So is the Ashtanga yoga a little bit more spiritual than your normal yoga, or?
Look, yoga is a spiritual practice, full stop, end of story. Yoga, by definition, is a state of, it's not a practice, a physical practice, it's a state of being. The word yoga itself means to unite, to be in a state of union. It's a bit like, people know about nirvana or all this, blissful. That's what it is. That's what yoga is. It's a state of being. So all yoga is spiritual by definition. Yep. It's just how it's taught or how it's delivered. So authentic yoga, and in Ashtanga yoga, the physical postures, no one speaks of it being spiritual initially in the class, but then when you tap into the community and they offer you sessions on, we're now going to study yoga philosophy or the Bhagavad Gita or whatever they're doing, you start attending those things, and I guess some people do, some people don't, and it's really up to you what you. So that's when I first started getting a taste of it, and I realised, oh wow, I had no idea there was a whole spiritual component to this physical practice, and again, that's where it took me down a very spiritual pathway. And I'm Catholic, like my upbringing is Catholic, and I'm still Catholic. I consider myself a Catholic yogi, which might be hard for people to understand. But I grew up in a Catholic home. I went to Catholic school. I wouldn't say I was very into it at that time, but in fact, yoga has made me return back to that.
Wow.
So so if anything, it's brought. But people say, it'll make you turn away from your Christian roots. It's actually been the exact opposite for me. It's brought me back and connected me back to my roots. And they did some research in that, and a survey across Australia many years ago, and they actually found many people had the same experience. The spirituality of yoga brought people back to their
previous religion.
Well, to their upbringing or whatever it is, and actually improved their spirituality. It didn't take away.
Wow.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Because you'd think that people would actually move towards like Buddhism or those sort of practices, right?
Yeah. Well, I think this is why I say I'm a Catholic yogi, because they both operate in my mind together, and I can believe both things at the same time, and both things can be true at the same time.
Yeah.
And some people might not understand how that works, but it works so beautifully for me. And I think for everybody, they have to find their own way. So, yeah.
Now, you're not just a yoga teacher. Yoga is your side quest, but you're actually a teacher.
Yes.
And a mum of 3
Yes.
to put on top of that.
Yeah.
How has motherhood shaped the way that you teach yoga and approach life?
Motherhood's been Ashtanga means 8 limbs yoga. Well, in the motherhood realm, we say it's the 9th limb. It's like it's the extra one that is the hardest of all of them. And motherhood has been absolutely life-changing. I lived for myself, essentially. Being a daughter and a sister and everything. I lived for, supported, loved and cared for my family. But essentially I lived for myself, as we all do. Found my way in the world, travelled and did all those things and worked. And then when you have a child, suddenly you are no longer living for yourself.
Yep.
Everything is for that child. Your responsibilities for them, everything you do is you're factoring that child and then children into the equation. And I think there's a great level of sacrifice that comes with it, but it's also a willing sacrifice. You want to sacrifice because you love, like the great love is there naturally. And so, it's totally changed my lifestyle, I guess. Now I feel like your life is divided in chapters, right? So for me, it was the chapter where you're single and whatever. Then it's a chapter with your partner, and then it's the honeymoon phase in that, and then it's the children chapter. And I'm deep knee into that children chapter right now. So it gets us shaped me in understanding that there are different,
Life stages,
and they're all beautiful. And I look at young people like yourselves, and I'm like, I miss and I love that stage of my life. But I'm not unhappy where I am. I'm so happy where I am, and but I also think very fondly of that stage, so
I like that.
Yeah,
it's sort of like you're reminiscing on those past stages in a way.
Yeah, and not with I wish I could go back. I don't. I loved them and I lived them to the full, and I'm living now to the full, and I'm embracing this time of my life.
When you became a mum, what surprised you the most about that shift in your identity?
I think responsibility actually surprised me the most. I couldn't wait to be a mum. I couldn't wait to have my baby. I was enjoying pregnancy for the most part, and I just couldn't wait to have this child. And I remember when I had him, the thing that surprised me the most, yes, I loved him, absolutely, but the biggest feeling I had in those first few weeks was responsibility. I couldn't just go and have a nap because I was tired. I had to care for this baby who was crying, who was hungry, who wasn't sleeping very well. And the feeling, the over thing that really surprised me at the time was it's not just love that matters. Like I am responsible for this child's life. And then suddenly you're looking at them going, this is a baby now, but he's going to grow up into a young child, then an adult, then a father, then you have this whole pathway in your head thinking, I know I want to shape this person in every way. And I know you can't get everything right, but you can do your best. And your best has to be good enough. Otherwise, you're always beating yourself up. Yeah.
Do you think mums often lose themselves because they give back so much to everyone else?
I think there's, again, the stages when your children are very little, when they're newborn. So I had children very quickly close together. So I had 3 kids under 3.5. So I was in the baby phase, the breastfeeding phase, the, no freedom phase, and I lived interstate. So I didn't have my parents. I couldn't say, Mum, just take the kids for half a day. Yeah. It was nothing like that. So I was knee deep in it. Yep. I don't know about losing yourself. I think you're just discovering a new way of being. I don't like losing yourself because it's like, no, I'm still me. It's finding, again, your identity, like we were talking about. First I was this single person, then I was a wife, and now I'm a mother. Okay, what does that mean? How do I still do the things I love? And I remember having to say no to so many things. I couldn't go on that retreat, and I couldn't do this or that yoga workshop. There was no one to look after the kids. And nor could I do all the advanced yoga postures I was doing before. And then there's a bit of grief around that, but at the same time you're redefining who you are. And then it gives you greater compassion for yourself and for others as well.
We obviously deal with a lot of mothers in our circle, our own mums, who actually believe that putting themselves first, especially when it comes to their health and fitness, seems selfish to them. What would you say to those mums?
Yeah, I think that's unfortunately because we're giving by nature. Women generally are givers. They might think that way, but I think we need to change that narrative because for me, I've been teaching yoga before I had kids. Why on earth would I stop teaching yoga after I have kids? Like, why would I stop practicing yoga? If anything, I need it more than ever needed. So I remember when my first son was born, I would hand over my son to my husband, and after 6 weeks, and I started teaching again. It was only one night a week to start with, but it was my time, my ability to get out of the house, look after myself, and it had so many benefits for myself, to nurture myself. It also, I felt really good teaching again, gave me a sense of worth again and purpose, but it was also fantastic for my husband because he got to bond with our son and have an opportunity. Oh, okay, Grace is in here. What do I do when he's crying? So I've always done that, and the kids have always had such a positive and good relationship with their dad because they have so many opportunities to be with him, and likewise, he gets to do what he loves. Time together, time apart, and I think it's actually selfless to put yourself first. You can't fill from an empty cup. You can't pour from an empty cup. If your cup is empty, if you're running on dry, how are you giving to your kids? How are you giving to other people? So you really do need to fill your own cup before you can serve other people. And people say yoga can be selfish. It's actually the opposite. Yoga is very much about calming yourself, finding a state of calm for you, knowing yourself, understanding yourself, and then when you're able to do that, you're meant to serve. That is the purpose. Yeah. You're meant to serve others. Now, if you're serving and you're not quite right, you're not going to be of good service. So getting yourself into a state where you are the best you can be, it's always a work in progress, but then you're able to serve better. And I think that's the same for women in motherhood. Going to the gym, doing yoga, going for walks, eating well is actually you nurturing yourself to serve your family better. It's a must.
Is that how you navigate it personally?
Absolutely. Yeah. I still went on yoga retreats. It all just needed a bit of time. There had to be a break because they were so little, but once they were a bit older, I've been to Bali several times after I've had kids, and I've left them at home with their dad or my parents, and, mixture of both. I've definitely still gone to yoga workshops. And what I love is that my kids see me as this person who's independent, who's following their dreams, who's doing the things they love, and they come with me. They come with me to some things, and they watch and they learn. Sometimes they come with me to yoga class and just sit in the foyer and they're watching through the glass, and the students love it. They think it's beautiful, and that's a sense of community. We don't have to separate everything.
What are some of the biggest misconceptions you see mums carrying about health, fitness, or yoga?
I think what I see as a teacher, so many people come in and they say things like, "Oh, I can't do yoga, I'm not flexible." And I'm like, that is the whole point of coming to a class, because you've got to start somewhere, right? I always say this, analogy was, you don't go to swimming lessons and you already know how to swim, right? You've got to start to learn, right? So it's the same thing. You come to yoga, sure, you're not flexible, you're not strong. Yeah. That's the whole point. You're coming in to learn. Yeah. So I think one of the things, I think women put a lot of pressure on themselves, and they want to be perfect at everything, and want to have everything and know everything, and, be that perfect mum and in every way. Let it go. Do the best you can, and that is actually the best you can do. Keep striving, keep reaching, and be compassionate to yourself. There's a teaching in yoga called ahimsa, and ahimsa means non-violence, non-harming. And you can apply that to me not harming you, you not harming me, but you can apply it to yourself, non-harming yourself. How do we live ahimsa for ourselves? It's through our mental dialogue. If we can say kind things to ourselves, compassionate things to ourselves, that's the first step, right? Then you will do that for other people. Well, oftentimes I say to people, what advice would you give to your friend in this same situation? And they'll go, I would say, be kind to yourself. It's okay, one step at a time. I'm like, well, that's your advice for yourself. Yeah. That's what you should tell yourself. So start one step at a time. Go easy and gently on yourself. Be compassionate. Don't beat yourself up.
I really like that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your Ignite talk was actually incredibly powerful. I actually loved watching that. That coin toss metaphor, that was pretty insightful as well. When you were in that situation, how did it feel standing on stage and sharing that intimate story?
I'm a talker by nature. I'm a speaker. I'm an educator, so I'm always talking. And over the last, 20 years of teaching, I'm very comfortable, generally speaking, and sharing. So I wasn't, worried about the content. I was just wanting to get it right and deliver it the way I had rehearsed it. I felt very proud of that talk. I felt that it was going to be powerful, the way it all. I was able to look at my experience, look at my experience, and be able to then share some, I think, empowering things for other people. Yeah. And sort of, there was so much there, and I had to narrow it down to 5 minutes in those slides. And it just made me be very succinct and not waffle on. So for me, it was just getting it right, standing up and not missing. And I made a few mistakes. You might not have noticed it, but I know that I made those mistakes. But it still worked. And I thought it was very powerful. Because when I first started, I did the heads or tails, and you can't tell in the YouTube clip, but when I had it recorded on my phone, you hear everyone laughing and clapping, ha ha, I won. And then when I said the next line, well, that was the 50-50 chance that my daughter had. And the room went silent. Yeah. You can't tell in that YouTube one, but absolutely silent. And then I had them, they were just in the palm of my hands. It was such an incredible experience.
It's an awesome way to hook a whole audience. That line that you said, it's very hard to say out loud, especially on a stage. What was it like hearing those words for the first time? Sorry, I don't mean to bring it on.
That's okay. I'm trying to I heard a lot of things. Yeah. We had meetings all the time.
Yeah.
So for context, my youngest daughter had leukemia, and we had to go daily. We had daily meetings with, especially in the early stages. Then we sort of had maybe weekly, and then it was again, in the lead up to her transplant. I heard a lot of things, and sometimes I had to hear it again because it was hard to take it in. So I'd go home and I'd say
white noise when you heard that?
Yeah. Oh, look, the first line, the first time I ever heard it, it was like everything went blurry.
Yeah.
Literally, everything went blurry. Everything went dizzy. In the lead up, I suspected that's what it was because they were kind of warming me up to it. But when she gave me a very definitive, clear statement,
This is what it is.
Your daughter has leukemia, and that was it. And she made me repeat it.
Yep.
And I was like, I'm saying it, and there were just words coming out of my mouth. I can't even remember it. Like, it was so blurry after that I had to go back and process it all later. I actually ended up writing a memoir, like a massive memoir of the whole thing as a gift to my daughter because she was only 4. So when she's a young woman,
4 years old.
She was only 4. She's 8 now, so she doesn't even remember a lot of things now. Yeah. She says, so there's things that she remembers, they're the good, happy memories that she actually remembers, the fun times with the Starlight captains or things like that, or the lovely nurse or whatever. But she doesn't remember the trauma like I remember.
Of course.
But I wanted to give her a gift of the story because I know when she's 20, when she's 25, when she wants children, when she wants a family, whatever it is, she's going to say, Mum, what happened? Why did I need to do that? Well, what happened? What treatment did I get? And she's going to have questions. So it's all there for her as a gift. I don't know if that's a gift, but I think I would want to know if I kept thinking if that was me and I was 20 and I'd be saying, Mum, why did you have to choose to do that?
Now
I'd
you've
say,
already created
this is
it.
why. And it also helped me process. It was a massive role in my healing because I got everything out and I'm very orderly and structured, so I put it all out. So it was like a big vomit. There it is.
Yeah.
It's all out now. So it helped me a lot, actually.
Yeah.
We believe in journaling and believe it's actually a really good practice.
Yeah.
Sometimes just putting the words out, it makes you really cement your thoughts a lot more.
It helps you process. It's like it's meditation just on paper. And I do journaling in all my retreats.
Yeah.
So that's one of the absolute things we do. And people don't have to share. They can. They don't have to. But we do journaling as part of that process. Yeah.
You've said that you've developed an intimacy with fear. What does that mean in practice?
So when I was told my daughter had cancer, and then when I was told down the line that she still had cancer, even after 5 months of treatment, for context, some children would be cancer-free within a month. And we had everything they could possibly give her in that 5-month period, every high-risk cycle, and she still had cancer. So they said, well, we're at the end of the line now. When we got to transplant, that was her last chance of cure. So if she survived the transplant, that's one, because you have a risk of dying in transplant. If she survived the transplant and then she still had leukemia, then they said to me, that was the 50-50 chance, right? That you make some memories and that's how they worded it. You have some lovely memories with her before she goes. I had to grapple with that so hard, and that was like, it's not like I knew the outcome tomorrow. The transplant took time, and then there was recovery from the transplant. So it was like 3 months probably until I actually had the next biopsy to actually know was she cancer-free or not. And I just remember looking at her every day going, is she cancer-free yet? Is she cancer-free? I won't know. I'd look at her hand and her little fingers, and she'd lie down next to me or I hold her hand, and I'd look at them and go, when you're given those odds, right, of that 50-50 chance, and then you're faced with a very possible reality that you're going to lose your child, I really can't even explain how that feels. That's the intimacy with fear part. I had such deep fear of losing her that I had to, in a way, embrace the fear. I couldn't run away from it. Like, you could choose to run away and just pretend it doesn't exist and just carry on. But for me, I had to understand and experience that level of fear because it could have happened. Like I knew people who lost their children. I was meeting families who had very similar scenarios and their child died. So I wasn't making it up. This was absolutely a very possible reality. In fact, she defied every odd, right? So I know that she was a very special case. So yeah, that to me is the intimacy with fear, not running away from the pain, but almost embracing it, experiencing it. And I think yoga taught me a lot about that too. Not running from things, but rather understanding it, sitting in it. There's a beautiful scripture in the Bible before Jesus dies. He's in the agony in the garden. And the night before, I was due to find out if her biopsy results. I was praying the rosary every night, and it was that mystery of the sorrowful mysteries where Jesus is dying and he's in agony. He's in the garden and he's praying and he's literally asking God, can you take this cup from me? Can you remove this pain from me? But he knew he was going to die, but he was also saying, can you remove the pain from me? And I felt like, I'm not saying I'm Jesus, God, no. I'm saying I felt and understood that scripture more than ever because it was, I wanted God or somebody to remove this pain, but I knew that I had to deal with it, whatever the outcome. And to me, I was feeling like I was in the agony. I was in agony in the garden. And that was the word I could really honestly describe my feeling, agony, until I found the results the next morning, which was then, of course, it's still with a lot of fear in the back, but that first step of actually passing that first part of the test, oh my goodness, she's cancer-free for now. So, yeah, that's the intimacy with fear,
That's very powerful.
Yeah.
That's very powerful. And you would have learnt a lot along the way. So what were some tools that you gathered from that whole experience and that you would suggest to anyone else watching going through
For
it?
me, having practiced yoga and had a spiritual, I guess we call in yoga sadhana. Sadhana is a spiritual practice or spiritual discipline. So having had such discipline around my spiritual routines for so long, I think I fell back onto that. So when we were in transplant period, Raya had to be in her room confined for a couple of months. So she couldn't even walk out of her room. It was fully sealed and it has its own aircon vent. It's literally, because if she caught anything, she would die. I drew on all these sadhana practices. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to be in this room with my daughter for this long. What am I going to do? So I journaled. I prayed, and both Catholic prayers and both yoga chants and mantras. I did a lot of pranayama, which is breathing exercises and meditation. I did a lot of physical postures in the room. And she just knew, oh, Mum, you're doing your yoga now? Yeah, I'm doing my yoga. I'd be right next to her bed. I went for walks out in the sun. So I connected back to everything I had done in all those years. I don't think it was just like you don't just learn it overnight, but it was because I had built such a strong foundation. It was almost like I had this feeling like it all came down to this moment that I needed 20 years of yoga because this is what I was going to deal with. It's like if you had the,
like a test.
Yeah, like if you had, what do you call them? The
Like a timeline?
fortune teller, a fortune teller says to you 20 years ago, in 20 years you're going to have some real shit to deal with, right? Okay, I better prepare myself. It almost felt like that unknowingly. I had prepared myself for this moment.
Wow.
And all those tools helped me very much in staying as calm as I could and being a positive person for my daughter because she feels it. She feels everything. If I cried once, she said, stop it, Mum, why are you crying? She hated seeing me cry. I mean, I cried often without her looking and I was away.
Of course.
But around her, I was able to be positive and strong and I needed to be her rock. She was 4 years old. I needed to be her rock. And that's one thing she still says to me to this day. She says, oh, Mum, as long as you're with me, I'll be fine, when we still go for our checkups and things. And as long as you're with me, Mum. And her memory is me with her. But sadly, the memory of my other two kids is me not with them. This is the guilt part. The thing about mums, you can't. You do the best you can. Yeah. And I don't know if the word is guilt. I wouldn't say I feel guilty. I feel bad. I feel awful that was their reality. But I know that was really
Just what had to be
this
done.
is what had to be done. I would see them probably twice a week. I'd come home, but it wasn't for very long. I'd try to stay a night while my husband and I swapped. But I knew that I had to be there at the hospital to advocate for her, for Raya, because, you know, I was always scared to leave her there because I'm like, I got to know what they're doing and why they're doing it and make sure the right things, you know, they're amazing, but you're the one,
gotta be on top
you're
of
the
it.
driver of what's going on. Yeah.
I'm really appreciative that you're able to tell us the story, because not a lot of people are willing to tell a story like that. I think it's very rare that these stories are told, but you're very confident about it. Have you always been like that? Like, is it because of the yoga?
For me, well, no, I think it's my personality, but I also think one of the biggest things for me, I know some people who've gone through this who then just don't want anything to do with cancer, don't want to talk about it, don't want to relive anything. For me, I want to be an advocate. I didn't know anything about childhood cancer before my daughter had cancer. I knew nothing. My first impression was that every child dies. I didn't even know there was a recovery. Like, I didn't understand it. So for me, I feel a responsibility. I feel an obligation to use what I've experienced to then help others come to a stronger awareness of it. And, you know, I have had amazing people on my Instagram and stuff like that who've connected with me and said, I knew nothing about that. So last year I did, in September is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. Last year in that month, I did a mumcologist journal every day. It was about a minute or two long each day. And I took people through a journey of what the experience is like. And a mumcology is like being a mum and an oncologist at the same time. And I didn't make it up. I've stolen it from someone else. But what I did was these snippets of information that were digestible for people. They listened, and then I got so many messages saying, oh, my gosh, I had no idea. Like, I knew your daughter had cancer. Yeah. I knew it was hard, but I didn't really know what you went through. And then when you break it down and have to explain what one day is like in the hospital and what she experiences for really simple things that we think people have a greater awareness and appreciation for. So to me, I'm an advocate for Raya, for people like Raya, for those who are yet to be like Raya, because there's more kids, you know, of course. Yeah. And also for the children who have died, because that could have been my daughter too. And also advocate for better research. But we need better and kinder treatment. This treatment is absolutely horrendous. The chemo that's given, the radiation, you literally have no choice. Here is your choice, bad or bad. Yeah. Like, that's it. It's awful, and they have long-term effects. Yeah. So, yes, we've saved a life, but it comes at a cost. Yeah. So these are the things I fight for and advocate for.
Yeah. Do you think mums underestimate their resilience?
So many people said to me, that's such a good question. So many people have said, oh, you're so strong, Grace. Oh, my God, you're amazing. You're so strong. And that, you know, that's all lovely, and thank you very much. But no, you will do what you have to do. Yeah. When you are in a situation like that, you will do what you have to do.
You'll fight tooth and nail.
This is your child's life. Yeah. And what choice did crumbling was not a choice. I crumbled away from her. I crumbled when I needed to, away from her. But having to advocate for my daughter was far more important than my feelings and my I have to just deal with what I'm given. This is what I've been given. I've got to deal with it. Yeah. And as a mum fighting for a child, I think any mum would do the same. Yeah. Some cope better than others. I'll give it that. But I think I've just been lucky that I've had these. I have the tools that I have. And that's why I love teaching it to others. So empower them as well.
That's awesome. Looking back now, daughter's cancer free. How would you say that it's redefined how you approach life now?
It hasn't redefined the way I look at life, because I've always been, I guess, quite a positive person. I've always been kind of self-driven, and that's just my nature. Not everyone's like that, I appreciate, but that hasn't changed that. That's still me. But what it has done is it's given me, I've tapped into a world. We're in the oncology kids world. We call it being part of the club that no one wants to be in. And now I'm part of this club, this oncology mums club. And I'm I have an obligation, and it's changed that. It's changed my, I guess, direction. I never would have really fought. I would have never fought for childhood cancer if I didn't have this experience. So I'm still me, but I'm just, my priorities in what I'm fighting for have changed, and what I want to see happen in the world has changed.
You emphasize that yoga doesn't have to be hours long. They can get the best benefits from even just 15 minutes of practice.
Yeah.
Most studios offer 45-minute, 60-minute appointments. How would you explain that to someone that's watching right now?
So my classes, they're just over an hour or an hour or so long. They're the classes I run face-to-face, but I do offer people online 15-minute classes, and I have some free ones on YouTube, but I've also got ones that you can pay for. And what I've always said, I used to always run these 15 yoga challenges where, you know, every day for 15 minutes, try and do some practice. And practice doesn't have to be physical. It can be meditation. It could be deep relaxation, conscious relaxation. There is research around that. There's research to show that you can change your brain in 15 minutes, right? That you can change the neural pathways in your brain. So for me, it's not about quantity, it's about the quality. If you can have undisrupted time for 15 minutes, that is more powerful than fluffing around on your mat for an hour and being distracted, picking up your phone or whatever it is. But, I mean, an hour is amazing, but so many women, and now that I'm a mum and, you know, I'm a working mum as well, I don't have an hour every day necessarily for yoga anymore. Like to go to a yoga class, I might have 15 minutes, I might have 5 minutes, I might have half an hour, or I might have an hour. It just depends.
Yep.
Yeah, so for me, making yoga accessible is a priority to me. Those who come in and they're, you know, some people come in for the mental benefits, you know, I've got a lot of stress at the moment, or whatever it is, life changes, chapters in their own life, or some people come because they just want to get fit and strong. So I want to make it accessible for whatever reason people are coming in for, and feel like I can offer that.
I like that. So make it easier for people to just walk in as well.
Yeah.
If a mum had like 10 minutes, would you suggest them to come and look at your 15 minutes?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, the 15-minute classes, and they're not advanced. They're sort of, they can be kind of beginner, and you can, if you know what you're doing, you can make them more advanced. But they're meant to be for your everyday person at home. Get your phone out, get your laptop out, switch it on. You've got 15 minutes before work or in your lunch break or whatever, and you're going to want more. We always, you know, it's that dopamine hit. Once you do it, you're like, oh, God, that felt really good, and then you want to come back and do more. So I'm trying to get people to move more, to feel more, and to connect more.
What role does breathwork play in calming the nervous system?
If you think about what we do when, and this is what I said when my daughter was diagnosed, I felt like I couldn't breathe out. You're holding your breath. So I think we don't breathe consciously most of the day. We're walking around breathing like it's nothing, but it's the miraculous thing that we do. We breathe. When we're born, the first thing we do is breathe, right? And when we die, the last thing we do is stop breathing. Yeah, breathe out. So for me, the breath is everything. The breath gives you life. It nourishes your body. It also calms the mind. And there's been research and scientific evidence in all of this now. It's, you know, the yoga's been there for thousands of years, but now the research is actually able to support these practices. It has a way to calm the mind. Focusing on the exhale tells your nervous system to calm down. It's that rest or digest. So you're not in that flight or fight anymore. So doing your breathing exercises, even when you feel like, oh, I've been going all day, I haven't even taken a breath. Listen to our language that we use all the time. I haven't had a chance to take a breath. Well, we are breathing, but a conscious breath, a pause, to sit with my own thoughts for a minute. So, yeah, pranayama or breath work, breathing exercises are absolutely vital to the yoga practice.
Oh, sorry, there was an actual word.
Yeah, pranayama.
Pranayama.
Prana is the life energy. Yama is the control. So pranayama, the controlling of your life, of your energy, of your breath, of your So it's actually controlling the breath is sort of how it works. Yeah.
Do you believe yoga is sometimes misunderstood in the Western culture?
I think the spiritual element of yoga can seem quite lost, or it's almost like you just see someone sitting down, closing their eyes, and that's yoga. Well, no, there's a whole context around that people don't understand.
Because that's what everyone believes yoga is. You just sit there and go,
Oh, yeah, there's so much more than that.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
Thank you for giving insight into that world.
Yeah.
Well, we actually teach a little bit of yoga in some of our classes.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Not really teach yoga, it's more
Breathwork.
and some of the poses like cat and
nice.
cow, child's pose, cobra.
Yeah.
And I've been doing some of the flows as well.
Oh, good.
But it's obviously very, very different to what a yoga instructor is actually teaching.
Yeah.
So how would you explain to someone that might be hearing this, that might do a few yoga classes at commercial gyms where they do that cat and cow or child's pose? How would you explain the difference between what they do there and what they do in your class?
I've reflected on this myself. What makes me different to, because I don't have a massive studio, I have my own little business and I have a beautiful community that keeps growing, which I'm grateful for. And I think, why do they come to me? I think one thing is the teacher is important. The teacher, you can go to a gym or you can go to yoga studio and you'll get different teachers all the time. And they're all going to be, have different things to teach you and they're fantastic. I've done that myself and I still do that. I'll attend a class, many classes here and there. But one thing I think for me is my experience and me as a person and the way I teach can be attractive to many people. If you want to grow and evolve as a student and not just turn up to a class, do a yoga practice and go home, and that's it. If you want to have a teacher that is actually going to push the boundaries with you, guide you like an apprenticeship, right? Guide you along the way where you're making incredible leaps and bounds, whether it's physically, emotionally, spiritually. That's what I feel like I offer, because I've had people with me for years and now they're doing back bends, headstands, physically doing things that they never thought they would do. And if you're going to a gym class, or not just a gym, or any yoga shala, and you don't have a regular teacher who knows you and gives you that attention, you'll still be in the same place, similar place a year down the track. Whereas I feel like I take my students on a journey.
Yes.
The journey that they want to go on. So it's always with them. What's your goal? What do you want to work on? And we work on that together.
So it seems like coaching in a way.
Yeah. I mean, it's a yoga class. Everyone's doing the practice. I'm leading the flow. But I know individually my students really well. And now I'm offering them teacher training because a couple of them have said to me, can you mentor me? I don't want to go to just pay for teacher training. I want you to be my teacher, and because I love the way you teach. And one thing I asked them was, what makes a good yoga teacher? And they were saying to me, is building community. And it's not just building a following on Instagram. It's not that at all. It's actually building a sense of community where they're connected to each other, as well as I'm guiding them to connect more to themselves.
Yeah.
How do you balance all this? How do you balance teaching beginners and then also experienced students as well?
I just love what I do. I think you can see my passion for this stuff. I do it outside of work, so I'll teach at nights, I'll teach on Saturdays, and I'll run things out of those hours. And I just love what I do. And seeing that I'm helping people, seeing that I'm helping transform their lives or guiding them, just feeds me more and more. It's like feeding the fire in me to keep going. Yeah. And I have an amazing husband and he's so supportive with all those things. And I have my parents here in Sydney and they, I have a great family, so I can rely on them for things like, I'm going to the mountains, I'm running my yoga retreat. Can they stay with you on Friday? And then my husband will pick them up on this, So I'm very, very supported. I don't ever want to say that I do this all on my own. I have a lot of support. Yeah.
That's big.
How do you foster community with your business and how you do things?
Building relationships. I think that's the biggest thing. Building a relationship with each person and having them build relationships with each other. If you think about, why do I go to this gym, or why do I go to whatever it is that I go to, this church or this whatever, it's usually the people that make people want to go back. Oh, they were so nice, they were so lovely, they were friendly. So when someone comes into my studio, they're automatically met with lovely, friendly people and everyone's chatting, oh, what do you do? Where are you from? How did you find love? So I also care very much. I genuinely care about all my students. So I'll follow up on them afterwards, send them a text message. How are you feeling after class? If there was something to talk about, or, do you want to chat about this later? I foster that relationship with them, and I feel like it's a very genuine one too. That's just my nature. I genuinely want to know how they are and how they're. It's not just me attending, pay me some money, thank you very much, and go. I want to see you grow and change and evolve, and I want to see you love it. And is there anything I can do to help you?
I think that's a big difference. Like, that's what creates a great community.
Yeah.
And you've run retreats. You mentioned you've run retreats before, online classes, all that stuff. Do you believe that the community is just as important as the practices that you teach?
I think you can have the practices there, but if you don't have the community, like the practices are dead. They're just sitting there, right? So it's having the practice with the right community or with a good community that you can teach. Like, I can be an amazing teacher, but without having the community
Students,
there, who am I teaching?
100%.
Right? So that relationship's vital.
It's big. I like that. What do you believe, like, truly makes a supportive environment for mums, dads, families?
Non-judgment. It's interesting you're asking me this, because I asked all these to my students that I'm mentoring, and these are the things they said they get out of my class, and they love the environment because it's a non-judgmental environment. So if someone's coming new for the first time, they don't feel like, oh, I'm being judged, and then these people are also good and I'm not good. And we're so supportive. You have women in the class who are clapping for other women. I have men come as well. It's not just a women's yoga class. Husbands come and friends come, and just males find me as well. So I like to see support of each other, and I'm very supportive of them. I'm very encouraging. And I actually, your teacher has more faith in you than yourself, right? Yeah. So I'm like, I know they can do that, but they're just scared. I can see that.
That's what we do as well.
Exactly,
We're
right.
teaching people, like, we know you can do 15 more kilos.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Absolutely. So you're pushing them not beyond what they can do. You're pushing them because you actually have faith in them and they can do that. But you're also doing it in a way that's encouraging and loving. And if they really don't want to go, then you're not going to make them, right?
Yes.
So that's very much how I believe I teach, that it's that gentle encouragement. Yeah, sometimes a bit of tough love, but, gentle and loving and supportive,
Something I really liked was you mentioned at the start of the podcast that it's not just a physical practice. There's an emotional side and all these other parts that come with the practice as well. When you mentioned when we just talked about the 15 kilo increase for that client or that person that you're working with, sometimes I see that progression as not just a physical increase in strength, but that mindset as well.
Yeah.
That they feel like they're stronger.
Yeah, that's the stuff I work on a lot, the limiting beliefs that we carry. And at the start, I did mention the identities when you asked me, how would you describe yourself? I said, well, we all have our sense of identity, and it's important. But then we have with that is our limiting beliefs and what we think we can do. I mean, in reality, we are limited. I'm not going to say in yoga, we actually do teach. I often say there's, nowadays people say, you can be whoever you want to be. I actually don't believe that. And yoga doesn't teach that. But what it does teach is to reframe your thinking from, you might be having a negative thought pattern. Well, if that's the thought pattern now, you keep saying that for how many years, and then you actually will become that, right? That will be you. Yeah. So what are you going to do to reframe that so that your pattern changes? Yeah. So I work, and on retreats I work on a lot of that stuff. But even in my weekly classes, people often say, I just love your classes because of the spiritual element as well, because you can get the physical side anywhere. But I try and bring in that food for thought every time.
If there was a mum that's listening right now and she's overwhelmed, spread really thin, what would they want to hear from you?
I've fallen into the trap of thinking I have no time for particularly now, my kids are at school, I'm so busy with them, I'm working full time. I think my advice is to prioritize yourself and don't say I can't. Remove that. My kids know that word's banned in my house. It's re-looking at things with a fresh lens and looking at priorities. So I used to say, I can't go to yoga anymore, I can't go to the gym. Well, yeah, there are limited things because of your lifestyle. So what can we do? Look at your lifestyle and prioritize yourself in that, not just your children. So if all day Saturday is sport for the kids, okay, where are you in that though? How can you manage to put you first? You might have to take something for the kids away. And that's okay. They learn that mum's important, and then you're actually going to get kids who grow up and actually think, oh, my mum is really important. It's not just about me. It's about her too, and dad, right? But equally. So I guess I would say is prioritise your health, because I've heard too many stories of women getting very sick with chronic illnesses, and it's because they've spent a lifetime of giving, and that's not just to themselves, that's to other people and their families. And we're not going to live forever. So in the time that you have, make it good. Don't get to an age where you just go, oh, I regret this and I regret that. The changes happen now in order to be that person. Where do you want to be in 10 years? Well, it's your habits right now that are going to get you to that 100%. Where you want to be.
I like that.
Facts.
Yeah.
That's what we say.
Micro habits is what I talk about a lot.
Micro habits.
Those micro habits, and you think they're not making a difference, they're just little, but it's those little things we do every day that turn into life-changing things. My class this week, I've been talking about the power of just making your bed in the morning. That is such a tiny thing, and it might seem boring, but actually it's a very beautiful thing. You're making your bed, you're setting up your day right. It's a micro habit. But there's a great TED talk on it transforming your life. If you want to transform your life, if you want to change the world, make your bed every day. And it's that small discipline in that yoga. It's discipline, sadhana, spiritual practices. It can be a spiritual experience, making your tea in the morning, stirring the pot, breathing with it. You can make anything spiritual. You don't have to be on a yoga mat. You learn the lessons with me on the mat, but then how do you take that out into your daily life? That's what my big teachings are.
I like that.
Yeah.
What excites you the most about the future of yoga and women's wellness?
I love and hate the fact that yoga's everywhere, but I do love it because I think people are talking about things that weren't talked about before, particularly around mental health, mental well-being, because we know the physical benefits. I think that's pretty set. We get that. Physical well-being is important. But the mental well-being goes hand in hand. And when I was describing yoga, meaning union, it's the mental state. And the physical is our vehicle that gets us to that state. So we have a physical body. It's the gateway to a calm mental state. So we use it. We use the physical to get us there. We feel healthy, we feel fit, we move our body, and then we are comfortable to sit and meditate, and we're comfortable to be able to calm the thoughts through the breath work, through meditation.
If you were to leave our listeners with one practice or one mindset shift, what would it be and why?
That's a very hard question. Oh, just one?
No, you can give them a couple.
No, it's a hard one because it feels so much pressure. Like I have to give one thing.
No, give a couple. You can
just, I guess, in the things that we've been talking about, one of the things I would say is confront your, can I say shit? Confront your shit, right? Don't run away from things. Look at your life, look at your habits, look at your lifestyle, look at what's going on in your relationships, and confront what's going on. Is this the life you want to become for yourself? And if the answer is yes, then you're on the right track. If there are things that could be tweaked, which I believe we all can, then get in there, make it happen, take action. I often use that Nike quote, just do it. Don't overthink. Do you have it up there?
Do the thing.
Oh, do the thing. Don't overthink. Don't overthink, because that's what gets going on in the mind, and then you become debilitated, then you don't do it, you don't take action. Sometimes you can take action first and then think about it later, and then it comes. Like yoga, just don't think about it. If you're tired today, just get on your mat, do one yoga salute. Usually it leads to another, and before you know you've done half an hour. Yeah.
That's the micro habit you were talking about.
Exactly. And I often say to my students, I want you to go home and just do one sun salute a day. That literally takes you 10 seconds. Do one sun salutation a day. My takeaway with them is I want to teach you things that you can go home and do yourself. I don't want you to need me forever.
Yep.
I want you to be able to empower yourself with these tools that you can rely on your own. Yeah.
And make your bed in the mornings.
And make your bed in the morning. Yeah, I love making my bed. It's a chore, but it feels good. Everything's set, right? Like my day's ready. Exactly, your first achievement, then you achieve the next and the next. And
sets you up for success.
Exactly,
for the day.
yeah, set yourself up for success, absolutely.
Yeah, I didn't make my bed this morning, so I don't feel successful.
That's poor form.
It's all right, I'll make it tomorrow. After this, you've inspired me to make my bed this morning now. Grace, where can people find you on social media?
I'm on Instagram as Yogini Grace, Yogini Grace. And, on my website, yogawithgrace.com.au. You can find my stuff there. And just send me a message. I'm always happy to chat and explore your goals.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Make those micro habits, people.
That's it.
Make them.
Micro turns into macro, doesn't it? Thank you so much for
Thank you
having
so
me,
much.
boys.
Thank
You
you.
guys are awesome.
That was good.
And thank you guys for listening to this week's episode of the Dynamic Podcast.
Thank you so much for sticking around. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. And if friends are interested, share it around.
Don't forget to comment your favorite part of this episode and tag us on your social media platforms.
And we'll see you next Friday. Ciao.